Welcome to This Week I'm Learning. Today is July 30th in the year that will not end, 2020. And I am your host, Brandon Vader. I'm joined as ever by Colton Roper, also known as Seeker4761.
Right here.
I'm also joined as ever by Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous.
Nothing witty to say, Cody?
No,
just say witty comments.
That always
You
comes
can
at the
that's
end.
the end.
Later.
Yeah, that's not the beginning.
That's the end.
Yeah.
Don't jump to the end.
Exactly.
That's the good bits.
Yeah, you gotta listen. And
No,
learn.
I said for you, not whatever.
For me, yeah. No, I have nothing
For the
witty.
intro part. We'll figure it out.
I'm saving my wit.
How are you
Save
guys
the
doing?
wit.
How are you guys doing in all this crap going on?
I
Trying to
about-
motorcycle as much as I can.
yeah,
It's
and
a good healthy way to do it.
dealing with the people who won't replace your tires.
Yeah, so bonus this week I'm learning that there is not a single motorsport or tire repair shop in the western slope. I would assume also the eastern slope, but the western slope of Colorado. I called every single one in Gunnison, every single one in Montrose, one of the major ones in Delta, and like 4 or 5 in Grand Junction. I have a tiny like needle puncture in the rear tire of my motorcycle, because tire manufacturers say that, oh no, you can't plug or patch our tires, and us still support. Yep.
Is this a right
There
to
is
repair
no
thing
one.
that's coming up too?
Yo.
No, they own the
I
patent
mean,
on it. You don't own the tire.
I can do the work myself and it be okay because I am liable for my own actions. There is not a single repair shop that will do it because it would make them liable if the patch were to come loose and it, deflate while I'm doing 80 down the road or whatever. No one will do it because we are in such a litigious society that no one will touch it. I can't even take it to a motorsport shop and have the tire removed from the rim so that then I can do the repair myself and then have it put on. The 2 places that I talked to specifically asking that question told me that if it had a repair done to it, they would be unable to put that tire back on that rim. So I might end up having to spoon it off in order to do the correct repair
get some
from
knives
the backside.
and just kind of jamie it off,
When you say spoon it off, I totally have
Yeah, I
a
was gonna
different
say that
image.
sounds.
My
Yes.
mind.
Spoon it. Spoon it off. Come on.
Must it be after
It's
hours
okay.
already, boys?
Is it the big spoon?
After hours, TWIL.
It's funny because it's like
Every week.
you now have the soapbox I normally have.
Yeah. I don't like it. You should take it back.
We're
Have it
spending
back,
too much
please.
time together.
Come on, let's just
Basically, is what we're saying.
Again, I keep saying, let's all move to Thailand.
Well, in one day, I am actually okay with that. Maybe after we figure out what's going on here, though.
Yeah.
After this
tell you what,
episode.
if this platform, if this makes us rich to the point where we can choose where to live, I will seriously consider moving abroad. How about that?
I think we're gonna.
I will not guarantee Thailand,
You heard it here, folks?
but
You heard it.
I would consider a different country. I hear Canada's nice. Free medical.
USA Light.
USA with donuts and friendly
Maple
police.
syrup.
Oh, donuts, coffee.
Friendly police.
Yeah,
That
friendly police.
must be nice.
Friendly people.
Yeah,
People who don't
actually,
stare at you weird when you say hi when you're passing them on the street.
I will say, like, when
you.
I'm driving from down the Alcan or up the Alcan, the worst border crossing is from Canada. So if I'm driving from Alaska to the lower 48, that's what us Alaskans call the rest of the U.S. is lower 48 or outside. So if an Alaskan ever says, oh, we're going outside, that's what we mean. Or, outsider, same thing. But anyway, the crossing to go from Canada to the lower 48, sucks. Like every time. Like the one going from the lower 48 into Canada isn't too bad. They're pretty nice. The best one is still,
Now-
of course, the one going from Canada to Alaska or Alaska to Canada. Those guys are really chill.
Isn't the lower 48 to Canada crossing the crossing where you became an international fugitive for a little bit?
Yes, that is. This podcast is going way off the rails right now.
Already, we haven't even introduced the topics.
Part of me wonders if our listeners should learn something about you, Cody.
Well, at one minor point in my life, a family
Won't
member...
specify.
Yeah, my father, which was not technically my legal guardian at the time, this is important legally, because I am not an international criminal, but
That's exactly what an
decided
international criminal would
that he
say.
was going to take the convoy, in all essence and definition of the word convoy, 3 motorhomes, like a motorhome, a truck pulling a motorhome trailer, and another truck pulling a motorhome trailer through the border of Canada by cutting the lock. Luckily, I have never been more thankful that I fell asleep as I have when I fell asleep in Montana. And then I woke up. We were stopped. There were red and blue lights. I was, 12 years old at the time? I had just learned about heavy metal, actually, on that trip. I was like, oh, there's better music out there. This is awesome. Like, and then I go to sleep to heavy metal, just like rejoicing in the fact that there's good music. And then I wake up and we're pulled over and I'm like, what happened? And my dad goes,
Because you listen to heavy metal.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It drove people insane, that devil music.
The devil music.
But yeah, he said, oh yeah, we went through the border or something like that. And I just, like, my mom already had prepared for some sort of insane eventuality. So I had a piece of paper that basically said that he was my legal guardian. But at one point in there, like, before they ripped up the paperwork, I was deemed an international criminal or something. So, but no, I'm not on a no-fly list or anything like that. So, yeah. But yes, the Mounties were very pleasant. I was disappointed at 12 that they were not wearing appropriate Mountie, like, red garb and big hat. But
Didn't come up and pull you guys over in a moose or something?
I know. That, yeah, as an
That's
Alaskan,
still how I see them. I don't care what you say.
Upset.
That's how they do it.
Like, Bullwinkle, please come here. No. But yeah, Canadians are very pleasant. Yeah, have a Canadian friend. He's cool. There we go. All right, now
Pro
you
Canada.
know way
That's what we
too
are.
much.
That's what we are in this podcast. Is pro Canada here. So
Yeah.
So how about you,
Canada.
Seeker? How are you doing with everything that's going on?
I'm doing okay. I don't really have any strange stories like you guys do. It's hot as balls down here in Tucson.
You worked in
it's
a
fine.
mine. You had played Minecraft
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah,
But
let's talk about the time you ruined a mine with math.
Oh my gosh. So, have to explain basically what I did at this mine in Colorado. Hard rock gold mine, about how many years ago? 9 years? No, that long. Not that long. 7 years? Shit, long time ago. Basically, I worked in the mine, but I also worked in the mill side of it. So, basically, I was getting trained to figure out how much gold was actually coming out of the mine. Do it through a process called assaying. Literally, assayer is what.
Well, I think we're
Shut up.
demonetized on YouTube now, so
Oh no, that's the word though. I know. I
we'd
can't even
have to
say
be
it without.
monetized to begin
Can't even
with.
say
It's
it
okay.
without like giggling just a little bit. But
So
So
you
I
were a
was-
professional ass man.
you know it, baby. Basically, the job is to you take a sample of the ore coming in and you crush it down, use chemicals, add chemicals, take away chemicals, burn it. It's really quite a fascinating process, and maybe one day I'll talk about it on the podcast. But basically, I kind of determined that there wasn't any gold in the ore. So, needless to say, because there wasn't any gold at that point, after a few months of this, it came out that, well, we're going to shut down because there's no gold. So,
Because
yeah.
Colton used math.
Because I used math and science to figure out.
He's a math murderer.
That is the lamest thing I've ever heard you say, Brandon.
Do you want
there's
to
some
know how
doozies,
we
but
know
that's pretty-
that he's a parent?
Yeah, which one of us is a parent?
Could it be the gray strands everywhere? That could be part of it, and the terrible puns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with puns for 200.
No.
Seems like a lifetime
Well,
ago.
aside from going off the rails initially, we do actually still have a pretty great show planned, even with all the fun stuff there at the front. Cody, apparently you're going to tell us where bubble tea comes from. I've never actually thought about it. I have had it. I do enjoy it.
I don't know if I want to know now.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
anytime you drink one of those, you're like, something's wrong is going into my mouth.
Oh no,
It tastes
they're
good,
awesome. It's
but
tapioca
they're
balls.
delicious, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's like
but what is tapioca?
2,000% sugar. You know,
It's wrong. That's after hours stuff. Never mind. Oh, stop
Especially
it.
the big bubble tea,
that's not where tentacles come from. Come
where you
on.
have to have the straw.
I guess we'll learn about that though.
kind of.
So wait.
You jumped.
Okay.
Cody.
We're professionals.
We're so good at this.
Also, that there are 7 keys to rule them all. So last week there was a ring, and now there's 7 keys. Is this the keeper of the 7 keys? Wasn't that a song by Halloween or something? Or is that just the keeper of the keys? That was back when I
Did
was
you learn that
listening to
in
a lot
Canada?
No, it's or Montana. Nope, not that one.
Yes, that is what I will be teaching or learning you folks. You folks.
Learning us. You're going to
Learning
learn
you
us.
guys. Learn
You're
it.
going to learn us good.
Learn you good.
I'm gonna be learned good.
And Brandon's going to tell us about how we should prepare to raise your tray tables and take off with Microsoft.
See, I'm upset because I'm the airline reference guy, and he's taking
gotta
my
change up-
references.
We have to change up
I'm
the
stepping on your
just
toes a little bit.
We're all very worldly men here on this podcast. We all gotta... Even though I keep talking about rings and keys and jewelry, but it's fine.
You're unlocking doors or vaults, or I don't know. He's
You'll
the
find out.
real international criminal.
He's
Look what
the
he
secret-
did with math. Don't let him have keys.
Especially not your
Oh,
encryption
fuck, what a
keys.
mess. I love it. What a mess.
All right, Cody. Where does bubble tea come from?
Ruin the facade, please.
Ruin it. Destroy the secret sauce.
So it's not really where it comes from, but it's whether it's a country or not. Any
Bubble
takers?
tea,
Come on,
bubble
let's
tea,
Tibet?
the country.
You're
So we're being too literal.
politically you're politically closer than you think you are when you say Tibet. But no.
Is it Thailand?
You're close in name, but not in kind of
Taiwan.
in region. There you go. So
Hey.
I,
What do I
I
get?
actually wanted to bring this up that it is Taiwan, not Thailand, although they both have bubble tea, but the originating place. But anyway, I'm not actually here to talk about bubble tea as much as I enjoy bubble tea. It's fantastic.
Oh,
One time I had like
What?
a cheesecake bubble
much
tea.
disappointment.
It was just amazing, like cheesecake.
Had a-
You wouldn't think so, but it's awesome.
Chai bubble tea? It does not have bubbles,
It doesn't have the
but
bobas.
it is chai tea.
Okay, that's good
Then
enough.
it's not bubble tea.
But I
It don't
actually
have
want to
that
talk about.
slimy shit going down your mouth. I like bubble tea, by the
You
way.
just
So
chew
go
a little
on.
bit. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm going
It
to chew
adds
my drink.
texture.
Yeah,
Pop,
that's
pop
a
it
great
in your
thing.
mouth. Pop it in your mouth. Just
Okay.
Is that how you
stop
drink?
that.
Okay. Back on the rails. Cody.
So I actually wanted to talk. I figured I talked about Hong Kong. Let's talk about Taiwan, just to get me completely annexed from the People's Republic of China. Let's just go for that. So that's why I said politically when you said Tibet, I'm like, you're wrong, but it's interesting. So let's go over. So Taiwan is both a country and not a country, and depending on who you ask, it is or is not part of China, or China is part of it. So there's the... All right, I'm going to start chronologically, because I didn't write a script, which maybe I should, but that's not how I do things. Seat of pants, flying, let's go.
Hey, more flying.
Exactly. Anyway, so...
Do you get miles for seat of the pants travel?
Obviously. I mean, that's what people say, button seat miles. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's a thing.
Checks out.
Yeah, it's good. So, anyway, it actually has a fairly long history. So, when you start going really far back, I didn't research that, to be honest, but some of the interesting factoids is it was once settled by the Dutch East India Company. It was settled by Spain at a point. And then during World War II, Japan took it and actually used Taiwan to launch itself into invading Southeast Asia as well. And then after World War II, it became part of the Republic of China, which is different than the People's Republic of China. So during that time, previous to World War II and then through World War II to 1949, and technically it hasn't really ended, there was a Chinese Civil War where there was the Republic of China, which got driven down to kind of south and then east China, and then finally to Taiwan. And then there's the People's Republic of China, run by the famous Mao Zedong. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I apologize if I am. I'm just going to apologize because I am. I'm going to
infamous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would argue.
Well, I mean, who knows? We might have some Chinese viewers. I don't want to completely alienate everyone. I'm trying to do as much facts as possible without
you never know when you have to commit a crime.
Too much sides here. Too many sides. Wow, I can speak English well. Obviously. So anyway, so the Republic of China got pushed back to Taiwan. And the Republic of China kind of sees that, Taiwan is the Republic of China. And then to a certain extent, this is where it gets kind of fuzzy, that they also see that mainland China is also kind of the Republic of China too, depending on who you ask. And then, of course, the People's Republic of China see the exact opposite. They're like, no, it's all one country, and it is the People's Republic of China. So what's also interesting about this is up until it was 1971, I believe, more countries recognized Taiwan than not. What happened in 1971 is they basically, when in the UN, they said if China has a seat at the table, then we're out, basically, because it's not, what is it? The sky is not big enough for two suns, I believe is the quote that the head of Taiwan used at that point. So, or the ROC, Republic of China. So basically he was like, nope. And what happened is that kind of went against them, because most of the countries, in order to do trade deals with China, like, for instance, it started in the U.S. with Richard Nixon, recognized China as the trading partner because that makes economical sense to trade with China at that point. But at the same time, the U.S. also gave a ton of funding to the Republic of China up till 1965. Now, when a lot of people think Republic of, except for maybe our Chinese viewers, they think that like life is all happy and like it's wonderful and there's flowers in the air when you hear Republic, as long as it doesn't start with People's Republic or Democratic People's Republic of, to their perspective. That really wasn't the case in early Taiwan days. It was, from what I've seen and what I've read, because I wasn't there, I wasn't alive, that wasn't my last life. I'm not that crazy.
You're not a time traveler?
I'm traveling international criminal.
Exactly. That's what really happened on the Canadian border that fateful day. But it seemed like the government there was very militaristic, very like this is our rule. There was actually an incident with I'm trying to remember this accurately, but there was an incident where some like a cigarette salesman spoke out against it and was basically just shot dead. And then it was kind of faux pas to talk about that for a long time. Things started getting better for them in the late 80s, and then they actually had elections. It was either the late 80s, I think it was actually around 1996, because that's when the People's Republic of China started doing some missile tests on the mainland close to Taiwan, and that basically caused this whole cross-strait issue that came about. So Clinton at the time deployed 2 carriers to the area, and it's one of the whole U.S. force projection things that's going on. So it's why we typically have carriers around that area, because from our perspective, so if the ROC, so I'm just going to start saying Taiwan, and I'm going to call the PRC, People's Republic of China, China, just for simplicity. So if Taiwan ever goes, we're an independent country, that will basically make China invade. So they're in this tenuous situation where China is somewhat okay with their existence as long as, A, countries don't recognize them and instead recognize China, recognize Beijing, and then B, they don't claim their own independence. What's really weird, so we trade with China, but we sell, when I say we, it should be obvious to people by now that we're all located in the U.S., so I recognize that there's an international audience too, so I apologize. But
incredibly, yes, there is now.
Yes, there's more people than just us. It's not only USA.
Still blows my mind.
I know. Contrary to what we heard in
awesome.
School. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so we still sell military hardware to the ROC or to Taiwan, even though we officially there's no embassy in Taiwan, and they don't have an embassy here. But kind of under the table, we still deal with them. So it's interesting. And actually, so Trump was the first president to ever accept a phone call, a congratulatory phone call from the president of Taiwan, too. So make of that what you will. It's just intriguing.
Regardless, in terms of international politics, that's a way to legitimize Taiwan.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's seems to be the implications of that, regardless of the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. So it's interesting considering like the whole trade war, the situation we're in right now, basically the world going to hell. Yeah. So, but this whole thing, and from like the Taiwan's perspective, if China invades, which China arguably in the last 15 years has really modernized their navy and all of their armed forces, they actually have a carrier now, which some people I talked to were surprised. Yeah, but at least it's not burning like Russia's. Well, although we've recently had a naval vessel, was a frigate that's burning in San Diego.
Was it a frigate, or I thought it was a destroyer?
A destroyer.
Or was it a support vessel? Okay, well, there's a ship that was burning for a while in San Diego.
Only there was some way we could ever look this up.
Yeah,
on possibly a wide web of information, possibly worldwide. But alas,
information superhighway?
Possibly.
Depending on your country's firewall.
Yeah. So China doesn't, at least I think that China doesn't just preemptively invade Taiwan because of, it's going to be, it's easier for them to absorb it through diplomacy. A matter of fact, that they've suggested that the one country, two systems policy would work with Taiwan and kind of going, hey, you know, this worked for Hong Kong. This should work for you guys. Although that's not really working out very well for Hong Kong right now. So, sorry, I'm taking a political side kind of on that, but be that it as it may. And if they invade Taiwan, it will basically provoke an international response. So Taiwan, from their perspective, has to be able to withstand any assault for the time that it will take international response. So they created bubble tea.
I was about to say.
Because it's a delicious drink. And, you know, if you're going to live in that sort of potential turmoil, you might as well have bubble tea.
Well, it's a way to satiate your enemies.
Maybe everybody, like,
calms
they'll
everyone
invade.
down, like, hey,
yeah,
let's just have a bubble tea. After we get that weird mucusy feeling out of our mouth after we drink this stuff, we'll talk about how to do international politics better.
Yeah, let's be friends. You know,
or with that mucusy,
let's have some stinky
tapioca
tofu
crap in their
something.
mouth. They can't like push a button to push a missile because they'll be like, you know what I mean? There's a multi-layer strategy here. I'm seeing.
That's, you know, in my mind, that's how international politics should work. It's just like, wait, let's have some, like the armies are clashing or whatever, and there's actually lines like back in the, 1700s.
World War One?
No, not even World War One. It's basically redcoats versus
Revolutionary War.
The Revolutionary War. And somebody runs out like, bubble tea? And they're like, well, I believe we can stop fighting now. We have bubble tea. Let's go.
I love it.
Anyway, that's a lot of people didn't know. I was not knowledgeable about the history of Taiwan for a long time. And a matter of fact, there was a time in my life where I thought Taiwan and Thailand were the same place. They're not. I can tell you. I've only been to one of them, but I know that they're not. So, yeah, there you go. They don't speak the same language. So that's another thing. Yep. Anyway, Colton, tell us about these keys that we can use to unlock something or lock something or just throw up in the air.
It's a little of both.
Juggle.
They're a little bit of both. So,
are they encryption?
Are you serious? Well, yes, and no. They're physical and digital at the same time.
This is like cryptocurrency.
Okay.
It does have to do with encryption on some level, yes. So, and obviously, we all know about the internet a little bit. We all kind of understand how it works, at least at its bare core. But do you guys know what?
Of tubes.
Ones and zeros.
Yelling,
power on and off everywhere.
Restart the internet. Basically, do you guys understand, or do you guys know what the organization called ICANN actually is? Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
And I'm
Brandon.
aware of some of the things that they do.
Okay. So Brandon, what do they do? What do you think?
So originally they were one of the, I want to say they were one of the providers that provided IPv4 addresses.
No.
Really? That's why
Technically,
I thought they
they
were
weren't one of the original
standardization.
because that's actually closer to what they are. They didn't really do IP. Okay, to be fair, so a little bit of history. This particular organization is called the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. It was created in 1998.
Yeah.
It is a non-profit. And essentially, they have de facto control over the phone book of the internet.
IPv4 addresses.
No.
Yeah, that's what I would think too, because that's the phone book.
To be
They
I want to
assign
clarify.
names
Technically, they have a division. I guess you could say that does deal with IPv4, but their main thing specifically is actually DNS,
which is
They
translating IPv4 to names.
Yes, but they don't distribute
And now
them out.
IPv6.
They don't distribute them
Right.
out. All they do is they're the translation essentially. So
Let's
everybody's right.
describe what that is for certain people, or sorry, not certain people, because a lot of people don't know what IPv4 is and DNS is.
Basically, with every internet site every internet site has its own set of number 8 bits. Is it 8-bit or 24-bit? What is it? I think they're 8-bit numbers.
16 or 32-bit.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
It's
need to
with
redo the
IPv4
Cisco calculator.
4 octets.
Yeah, 4
It's
octets.
4 octets.
And I want to say
So 8,
each
8, 16, 32.
octet.
32-bit address.
Yeah, 32. Okay, so 32-bit numerical address, because computers cannot talk to each other in words. They literally have no way to do that. As Brandon alluded to earlier, they essentially they talk in ones and zeros on and off.
So
And
it looks something
extrapolating-
like 192.16, like your local one would be 192.168.
Yeah, Google has its own
whatever.
unique. Well, they have multiple ones, but Facebook has a public IP address of these octets, at least in IPv4 style. Every single site does. The techpirate.net has its own public address as well. What a DNS server does, domain name server does, it essentially makes it translates that IP address, those 4 octets, or with IPv6, the hexadecimal one?
64-bit. Yeah.
64-bit, yeah.
Hexadecimal.
So basically, it translates those random numerals, at least in IPv4, into, a language that humans can actually understand.
Amazon.com being rather than 28.21.46.78, and I gave somebody's IP address away that's random. I don't know who that goes to, is www.amazon.com, essentially.
And IPv6 is 128 bits.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Whatever. But basically, what DNS does, it makes it so it's a lot easier to communicate Google.com versus whatever its IP address is. It's a lot easier to remember, a lot easier to tell over the phone or whatever. It's a lot easier to type in an email address. It's basically a foundation of the internet. But an issue that is becoming a bigger and bigger issue is that a lot of these, I guess, domain names are not legit. They're finding that a lot of these, basically these, like, you could find Google's not a good example, but I'll use Google anyways. Theoretically, you could trick the internet or trick a computer into, if you type in google.com, you can trick it through viruses, malware, whatever, and also at the back end as well. You could trick it to go to a different address than what it actually is supposed to go. So it's basically, you could it'll send a request to the wrong address, and then you could, say it's a bank, you could trick, essentially you could trick a user into giving their personal information to a website that is not affiliated with your bank at all in any way. So it's incredibly dangerous in terms of security. So what ICANN does, which is, I didn't know about this, but twice per year, there are 7 key holders that meet up to essentially authenticate the internet. And to clarify, it's twice per year per coast. So there's 2 times on the East Coast of the United States, 2 times on the West Coast. These key holders actually meet up at one of these ICANN locations at the main office
Starbucks.
No, it's well, it could be. I don't know. Maybe all the internet goes through Starbucks. But basically,
They meet for bubble tea.
All right, there we go.
It all ties together, man. It all ties together. But essentially, and just to go back to what ICANN kind of does, essentially they are the ultimate authority on DNS. They authenticate all DNS requests. They are the ultimate authority. All lower DNS servers get their information from the higher ones. Essentially, it's more complicated than that.
Root.
But that's essentially they are the ultimate authority that decides an authenticated DNS address. So what these key holders do, they meet up at a secret. Well, it's at the ICANN offices or whatever. They each own a metal key that goes specifically into one lockbox. I know, it's wild. Each lockbox actually contains a smart card.
This sounds like a Fallout quest.
It gets very thriller-esque, James Bond-esque kind of stuff. These smart cards actually essentially activate a machine that creates the digital master key, which I can go into public keys and private keys, but basically it creates a master key that authenticates all the websites, and it goes through the entire internet and basically decides, hey, that particular domain goes to that specific IP address. That is true. Anything else is irrelevant. So if you go to a site, we've all seen it. If you go to a site using a modern browser, sometimes you'll see that this particular site is not secure. It's a security thing. So like I said, this particular company does this essentially 4 times per year. But what happens if, say, the NSA or Russian hackers or a hacker or someone spills some water on, it doesn't matter. Let's say that someone destroys that that machine that creates the master key, or they take over it. So basically if someone can essentially take control of how the internet works, the internet would still work, but it wouldn't be recognizable as it is now. It wouldn't be trustworthy. You can still use IP addresses, but no one thinks in terms of IP addresses. It's the equivalent, again, essentially the phone book gets thrown away, and the internet still exists, but there's no way to communicate between it without knowing the specific number.
You're going to have to call Google's hotline to ask them what their IP address.
And then so there's ways around it.
But you'd have to Google that to get their number.
It would be incredibly inefficient. So, what I learned is, in addition to these 14 key holders that are just random guys,
So
there's actually
7 keys.
Hang on,
because it's each coast.
East Coast and West Coast.
Right, but there's actually 7 master keys that are hidden. That are not hidden. They're throughout the world. They're given to people. I think there's 2 in the United States, 1 in Japan, 1 in Lithuania or something. Like you can actually. It's weird. You can actually look up the names of these people who own these master keys, and what these master keys do is they're essentially used to create a new key generating machine. So in the event of the regular machine being destroyed, they can actually essentially recreate the internet.
Yeah, this sounds like the
Master floppy disk in every 90s movie.
It's literally what it is. So it's
this sounds
it's
like the
obviously-
next Mission Impossible movie.
It's in fact it's freaking wild. So just for a obviously when these events happen, there's huge security because obviously someone can pretty much destroy the world as we know it if they fuck up in any way. So to actually
Event
get
for
to
December or November.
it's on the list. It's on the bingo card. So to actually get to the master machine, it's very, there's a lot of pageantry to this. Basically, every single person has to go through over 100 points of security that are timed to like the minute. So basically, 100-point sequence of not breaking in to having access to this machine. That includes
Sued Ethan Hunt. Sorry.
So Ethan Hunt would have to navigate a Faraday cage, have to get the key cards, have to break the iris scanners, have to know the safe combos, have to. I want to say, I don't know how true it is, but I've read that there's blood samples as well. It's pretty, like, obviously these 7 people have immense control over the entire world. So obviously the yeah, I know, it's very spy worthy, incredible, very dangerous if you really think about it.
Are they paid for their services as
No.
a key holder?
That's
Remember,
actually a good thing.
ICANN is actually a non-profit organization. It doesn't have
people get paid in non-profits.
Yeah.
Right, but they're probably not paid enough for the amount of actual responsibility these people have. And again, remember, there's the regular employees. I couldn't really figure out how these people are actually chosen. I'm sure they look at their entire life's records, they look at their tax records, they look at all this stuff, and I think some of them are like one of them's and this is the regular key holders, not the master special people, the true arbiters of the internet. But some of these people are like one of them works for I guess it was a stock trading company that has $1 trillion in assets. Another one just works for a regular cybersecurity company. Regular being like national level, kind of huge. They're huge. They're not regular. They're huge. So it's all, like I said. The more you learn about it, the more it's just you're thinking this is a damn spy novel because of the amount of security.
The more I think that you're probably on a list somewhere of somebody watching you based off of your searches.
You know what? If I'm not on the list, then the security has failed. I'm just saying. So that's a little something I learned, that you got really 21 people in the world who can pretty much, well, not take down the internet, but ruin it as it is. And going into international politics, kind of what we mentioned China. China is kind of iffy about it because these, I guess, these locations are based in the United States. So
yeah,
the vast majority of DNS requests in the world is filtered through the United States in some form.
I could definitely see why they would be skeptical of.
Oh yeah.
All of that and wanting to create their own network, like Russia as well, wanting to create their own.
So I was going to say,
internet.
Russia is actually trying to create their own internet because of organizations like this being based in the U.S. Even though there's, as far as you can tell, there's no real nefariousness to it. It's all a bunch of it was all created for the betterment, for the idea of the betterment of mankind.
And it's difficult to
and
sell
there's all
that
these
idea
fails.
when it's
all
all in a certain viewpoint. Even though those people, may have a more omnipotent viewpoint. Yeah,
right.
Words. But if they're all if you're Russian or Chinese, in the government, and all of these people are located in the U.S., it's like
all of these rules are basically they're a self-governing organization, and it's all based, like, I think the chairman of whoever's, I'm not sure, can figure out his name or can't remember his name, but he basically equated it to the only reason this works is based on trust. So a lot of at least it seems like, at least in public, these guys and gals take it super, super serious because they realize how important what they do is. So.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's
right.
Like intriguing.
And it's not really, they're not affiliated with the U.S. government. The idea about like the Great Firewall of China and the crap that North Korea pulls with its internet, and it's not the same thing. This is all fundamental things about how the internet works as we know, at least the public viewed internet, not the dark web. That's a whole nother weird issue in itself.
Well, so
Go ahead.
a bit of interesting information. So when most people think of the dark net, they think of these nefarious places with nefarious things going on. Most of them are just unlisted websites.
Yeah, they're not listed in Google's database or Bing's database. They exist.
Yeah.
There is,
and the only
obviously,
way you can get to them is to know the address itself.
What
The
was
specific
it
thing.
like
So-
in 2014?
or it's military based, or
Yeah, in 2014 and
NASA or
2000,
something.
or in 2015, it was actually like 90% of the internet was actually the deep net rather than
it's
the
It-
shallow net.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
public
think about
net.
it this
The
way.
kiddie
I've got
pool.
a test website hosted on my server equipment sitting 3 feet away from me. It does not have a domain name because it is for my personal use only, testing out different PHP and .NET code.
yeah, technically,
So that is technically part of the dark net, even though it does nothing nefarious.
yeah. I guess the media the media obviously uses that nefarious sounding name, and they turned it into a
Deep
cesspool of criminal activity
Villainy.
and international
Yeah.
espionage.
Yeah,
which
there
it does
is
exist.
that.
Don't get me wrong;
Yeah.
it's there.
Oh yeah.
But there's
It's
a
there.
lot. But there's a lot more to it than just naughty stuff. I guess you
Yeah,
could say.
I can't watch like cat snuff films on Brandon's server.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
No.
That'd be weird. But
Yeah.
theoretically, with the dark net, you could find it. Not that you'd want to, but most of it's, as you said, just stuff,
It's
just
unlisted.
information. It's it's not in databases. It's not searchable.
Well, and human nature is what we don't know scares the crap out of us, and we have to react to it.
It's the dark net.
And that's
deep
actually why I'm a little bit concerned with Russia creating their own internet and China's internet being walled off, is because I think it, rather than us growing together as humanity, that it separates us, segregates us, allows us to more easily vilify each other, which is
Well, there's a reason. There's a
problematic.
reason why countries want to have control over it, because of that reason.
Yeah,
That's-
and
but,
you don't
hey-
want your enemy to control everything too. So I mean, I understand their perspective. I just
It's complicated,
Yeah.
and again, it's all based on trust. At least that's the way it's set up right now. There's
gotta have love.
It's all about the
Gotta have
governance of
love in
trust.
your heart.
It is the fifth element.
Such a good movie. I need to watch that again.
Okay movie.
It's been a few months. Hey.
What? What?
Hey.
I just said it to piss you guys off. Relax. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you've upset the editor.
Real. Oh, now what?
Multipass.
Yeah, I saw what you did on the last week's episode on the YouTube channel. Those fucking
Hey, you
Shit, you
dodged
threw it,
them
Mike.
very well. You did.
you
such
know
a
what?
good
It's
job.
all.
Yeah,
They're gonna
you've
do it
got
again.
the skills. You've got the skills.
Yeah. Well, speaking of technology and I guess travel a little bit. Not really. I don't know. Brandon, what the hell is this planes and
tray-
Microsoft shit you're talking about?
Yes.
Is there a
so,
new tray table by Microsoft? Can I look forward to that on my next flight? What planes is it
No, you
featured on?
can't.
Oh,
But the newest Microsoft Flight Sim will be available August 18th. It's been over a decade since the last true Microsoft Flight Sim title, which was Flight Sim X back in 2006. For those of us old enough to remember that initial launch, it was a class leader in visuals and realism, and it made my computer cry for many months until I upgraded it after launch. Flight Sim 2020 is poised to bring that same leap forward in technology. The biggest draw to the latest Flight Sim, aside from the obvious boost in graphics and flight model realism, is the terrain and mapping. To date, there has not been any hyper-realistic topographical or city data included within the base game. It's always been add-on scenery packs, and to get highly detailed airports, you have to get additional packs. But it's never been possible to fly over, say, your own house. So in past titles, especially like Flight Sim X, you've been able to fly over very specific points of interest. But once you fly outside of that carefully sculpted area, the details of the landscape just disappear.
So is this
Microsoft Flight Sim...
Sorry. I'm thinking, as you're describing this, I'm thinking Hawks, which I know is like the exact opposite gameplay type as Microsoft Flight Sim. But
Hawks,
not
Hawks was beautiful, though.
Yeah, but it was basically you fly over Google Maps. I mean, it was different. Yeah. It was, I forget, GOI or something that they used.
Yeah. But in Hawks, like, each level was very carefully handcrafted off of satellite imagery. No, it wasn't. But it was beautiful. I do remember, like, flying through cityscapes and it being absolutely gorgeous. Flight Sim 2020 is supposed to bring that level of detail and fidelity to the table. You'll soon be able to fly over anywhere in the world with realistic terrain, topology, and weather. Now, they did have weather in Flight Sim X, but it was a couple minutes delayed and it wasn't. Yes. Yeah, with volumetric clouds, real wind conditions, their flight physicalization. So so I'm going off script here, but in most flight sims, on like advanced ones, it'll have like 1 or 2 points along the wing surface that it is doing the calculations off of, but it's basically an average. It's not an actual 3D surface that it's modeling how the wind and the density and the volume of the atmosphere is affecting it.
So it's still better than the 737 MAX ACAS system. Because it's taking the average of multiple points rather than one sensor. Sorry, had to throw that in there.
The flight model in Flight Sim 2020 uses 3D technology for the wing surfaces. It's not just multi-point. It is the actual physicalized wing being physicsed upon. It's super geeky and nerdy and mind-blowing, and I cannot wait to play with it.
Fucking incredible, actually.
Now, on the deep net, you could watch wings getting physicsed upon.
What is that? Rule 34? You know, it's somewhere in the internet.
No.
It was a nice family-friendly game, Cody, and then you ruined it with not even once. Math, not even once.
Yeah. But you should soon be able to fly anywhere. Cities will be identifiable, and you should be able to fly over your house, school, or workplace. This has long been a dream for simulation junkies like myself, to have the ability to explore the world around you with precision and accuracy as though you're really doing it. I know I can't wait to fly from our local airport and go just over the next couple hills to see what's back there, what it looks like. Is there structures back there? Is there roads and buildings?
I'm really surprised. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm really surprised governments are allowing this.
I'm sure they'll do like the Google blockout.
Specifically the United States, based on our incredible fear of terrorism.
I would imagine there is going to be locations that have less.
I was going to say, like Washington D.C. is probably going to have maybe not even there. I mean,
I don't know.
An airbase out here in Tucson.
So.
So you get to a certain area of Nevada and New Mexico, and like all of the texture is just replaced by like happy faces or something.
Yeah, I wasn't able to find any concrete evidence on
Well, even
if
Google
there's
Maps
going to
does
be?
that, though. They already
Yeah,
wipe out stuff that governments don't want them to know about.
yeah.
That's
And I
interesting.
mean, this is based off of Bing Maps, and it uses
Oh,
the
well.
Azure backend to stream it all in. So I mean, I'm sure if it's not in full high def fidelity on
You
Bing
know,
Maps, it's
Microsoft does
gonna
the same thing.
yeah,
They have to scrub it. They're, with their military contracts, you know.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do in those areas because they have touted the ability to fly anywhere.
TM.
So they're going to have to do
asterisk.
something. They're going to have to do something in those areas.
Anywhere's a
It
lot.
can't
of
just
space.
be
It's a secret level
Yeah.
of another game or something. You get in there and then it's like
there is no cow
no,
level.
no, it's like asteroids. You now are not playing this high fidelity, flight simulator. It's like, oh, you've entered a random asteroids level. Bloop bloop bloop. Yeah, just
It would be interesting, I guess.
make every military installation an Easter egg.
So, what I'm kind of interested in, besides everything of this, but what I'm interested in is, if I'm watching a Linus Tech Tips video, and it's kind of funny how they happen to mention,
LTTstore.com.
Oh yeah, right. No, we're not.
We need a store.
Yeah, we do.
Give us like a year, we'll have our own store. But basically, he was mentioning like a 100 terabyte solid state drive he was reviewing, or not reviewing, but looking at.
I saw that video pop up on my feed, and I am watching it after this.
It's
But
pretty freaking
continue.
badass. But it's ironic how he actually mentioned in it. I want to say it was Microsoft Flight Simulator X. The amount of server space that is required on Microsoft's end is like 2 petabytes of storage for the terrain
That's 2020.
data. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
this one, yeah.
Is it? Damn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how much space in the local end is it?
Surprisingly, only 150 gigs.
Okay, that's
That
That's
gets
actually-
you
It's not bad.
the base
actually.
scenery pack, your flight physics, your aircraft, and yeah, they said that the offline play will be amazing compared to Flight Sim X, but once you use the Bing's map and live tie-in, you will not.
Are you
really
going to
want
see
to do
other
anything else.
players flying their damn planes?
It says there is multiplayer compatibility for the future. I don't know if it's going to be a day one, because they've also mentioned that there's going to be tie-ins to the flight traffic control multiplayer, so that you could actually have like Flight Sim X right now. If you do
can
Steam, you can
pretend to be a
be
traffic controller.
Yep.
if you want
I
high
did
stress
not know
in your
that.
life without actually having high stress, enjoy
Don't lose
that
all
game
your
mode.
hair and drink yourself
If-
into oblivion.
If you are a Flight Sim fan and enjoy like realism and want to see people just get destroyed over their lack of realism, Air Force Proud 95 has some hilarious videos. It's
I'll
he,
like
he
some of
plays an
those-
air traffic
I was
controller.
gonna- some of those damn simulator guys, like there are groups I've seen that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on realistic 737 cockpit and tied it into fucking
Yeah.
Microsoft Flight Simulator
Yeah.
X.
A lot of
So-
people
Oh,
you can go
think I
crazy
went
with
overboard
it.
And they fly-
just with that.
That is overboard. And,
I want
but at least
that.
you're not.
That
it's
is
not, but,
that's under the board.
right. That's like upper low end, if compared to
Yeah.
the freaking fully encased realistic flight simulator cockpit thing.
I want one of those so badly.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'd fucking take it.
so badly.
The price dropped for a while and then it kind of went back up.
Well, because now you had at the start of the year people with extra money
Oh
who
yeah,
were going to
no,
be staying at home.
Yeah,
I briefly on a whim did look at one of the like sim pit things because it's like, ooh, that would be fun. And then I saw the price and went, nope.
It's
I don't
not
know
fun
if zeros
anymore.
in my paycheck.
No.
That's scary.
Maybe 10 years.
When the podcast gets bigger, when we can just do our podcast
Before-
from the cockpit.
Yeah. That comes before moving abroad.
Meh. I think
Same
episodes.
Mostly
time.
because then that would be a
Same
reason
time.
for me to stay. Well, I can't take my Simpit with me.
I can't take my.
Oh, come on.
$250,000
Episodes would be really
simulator.
fun. We could do episodes on location, like at a bar on Sukhumvit.
Do you know how
or
much
something.
fucking fun that would? One day, when all this
would be
shit
fun.
is over, we'll have to like meet up in some random state or something, or country even. Who knows? Probably state because it'll be easier.
State. I can ride my
well,
motorcycle there.
I want to get international air miles.
You can get regular domestic boring nothing miles. That'd be fine.
Well, fly to Canada. That's international miles.
That's international miles.
It's international light miles, but
Come on,
Sorry,
let's
it's
go
not
to Korea or something.
Halfway. We're not going to do a podcast episode in Korea.
Why not? Korean
For-
viewers, please speak up. I don't think we have any.
Yeah,
but
if
you're
drop it
Korean
in the
and
YouTube
you become
comments
a-
if you want us to do
Yeah.
an episode in Korea. We'll do a damn episode in Korea. Why not?
See?
Fuck it.
Please.
somehow,
We-
some
1,000. If we
many
get
years from
1,000
now.
comments,
Wait, I
will do
I
it one day.
know two people living in Korea. One is actually Korean.
they have to be verified from Korea though. It can't just be like the three of us typing in shit like we're from all the way around the world. It has to be real, organic comments. But who knows?
Yeah.
I think it
So-
would be fun. Why not? One day.
One other feature, at least one other person on this podcast will be interested in, VR support.
See, I know you're talking about
Not-
Cody, but that hurts my feelings. I am
Well-
interested in VR just because I don't have a damn VR setup
as
yet.
soon as
you
I
rich
update
motherfuckers.
my index, you can fight my mom over who gets the Vive.
I don't want the Vive. I want the Quest.
Does she have a computer that will run the Vive?
She'll get one by then.
She'll get one.
She really
Tell her,
likes.
tell
the
her to get a
VR.
Quest, and she doesn't even need a damn
Fair enough.
computer.
Okay.
Wireless.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
that's the way it should be. That's where the technology should go.
See, to me, this is like it's like the whole mobile gaming versus PC gaming debate. It's like, do we sacrifice the technology? Do we sacrifice the visuals in order to have it more accessible, or not? Like, I can see the
I would
argument,
say
but
accessibility from a price point, because that is what is going to determine if VR survives. It's not the technology; it's the market.
at the
that's-
I completely agree. Initially, it is going to require so that buy-in, that ability to access the medium is what is going to make it or break it, which is why VR has not really been super successful. I think it's going to take getting a lower-end headset. And honestly, if you look at most technology, the minute it becomes accessible at a good price point and has ample porn is when it really takes off. The internet, computers, personal computers, and the internet.
no, VR does. But
But the hardware is not accessible to your average person.
what I'm okay,
Most of those
I-
sites are not
It-
accessible to your average person.
You
I will
have the Valve
concede-
Index, which is arguably the best consumer grade VR on the market. I mean, that's pretty much been established.
Actually, I only have one part of it, so I
But
don't
right,
even.
but the
But it's expensive enough that I've bought it. I'm buying it in pieces rather than the entire thing. So I
See,
have to
and-
concede that point.
Yeah.
and
to
at the same time, you have to have a decently powerful PC to run it at the fidelity that you want it to justify the high price point.
May-
So that's $3,000. Maybe that's a little much, but I'd argue conservatively, for the average person, not everyone builds a computer. Sometimes they'll just go get a pre-built that can handle it.
watch
Three
level
thousand
one
$1,000
dollars
techs.
laptop.
would arguably
Yeah, watch level
Fine.
one techs. They will tell you how to build a computer that will run VR.
Not everybody wants to do that or has the time.
I'm just saying.
Or is...
Time is money. Money is time.
We know this. Yeah, and because time is valuable, sometimes a pre-built is... Don't get me wrong.
Then you have the money.
Actually, that's a fair point.
But again,
I can't argue
that entry-level position,
Okay.
you have to have it to where the average person can afford the hardware to access the media.
I will concede that, but I will also add my concern that this is where we got the consoleization of PC games that drives me crazy all the time. Like, click to hold
But
in No Man's Sky. Why is that a thing?
Well, but
But
that game was built
You also
for...
look currently at the difference between mobile gaming and PC gaming. You will see that in the lower end headsets as well once they become popularized. But you're also going to see those people who, like us, are looking at it and going, okay, well, this is great. I can buy this $300 or $400 piece of hardware, and then I can play with it. I can mess with it. I can make it work with other stuff. Then that's when the explosion is going to happen.
Yeah. That
in combination...
I'm just being slightly negative to a point of being negative.
It's how technology
devil's
really works.
advocate.
There's always going to be that high end that always pushes the technology envelope, and obviously there will be a very high entry fee at that point. But once the technology gets cheaper, which I would argue VR has gotten cheaper overall. It's still
it's like TVs
prohibitively
too.
expensive. Yeah, it's still prohibitively expensive in some cases, but the low end stuff isn't total garbage anymore. So the actual experience itself is at least viable.
Yeah, you could still play Beat Saber on a low end.
Yeah, you can still play the basic. You can still play the game. You can even, you can even play the Half-Life game on the shittiest VR. It may not be the perfect experience, but it's still playable.
But it's still,
Then you add in the fact that part of what's really awesome about the VR. Again, I don't have one, but this is the way I look at it. With Valve essentially validated VR by making that game.
Alliteration.
It's a AAA developer that actually put time, effort, and money into one of their titles specifically for this medium.
We gave up Half-Life 3 for it. You better like
this is Half-Life 3. If you look at the overall history of Half-Life, every time they built one, they waited until there was a generational shift in technology to build it. So, I would argue that to me that legitimizes it. Now if that's one thing they need, which will force people to go buy, if they want to play the game, they have to go buy a system that can do it, buy a VR headset system that can actually play the game at a decent fidelity. That will increase the market, which means smaller companies will start putting effort, resources, creative time into making higher quality VR games, which then it just goes this and this and this and this. Which will in turn also, because capitalism, the price will go down, which will be more people. That's kind of where it needs to get to, and I would argue it's starting to get there.
Yeah, then we'll live in a world where we definitely never talk to each other face to face.
So you can't always be in the same room, Cody.
Well, in 2020 you can't, but what about 2030?
I've seen you 3 times since you've moved up to Alaska. Twice, actually. Twice.
Only seen you once since you moved to Alaska.
And you left us. So, And then I left, and now we're doing this.
I needed to cool off, Now I need to warm
But now
up
you
again.
want to move to Thailand.
Yeah. They've got good air conditioning there. And they've got bubble tea.
I am an expert in air. Oh, God. And decent
So
internet.
speaking of VR headsets.
Yeah, with this great Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, if I want to play online, I'm going to have to call up GCI and be like, please give me the $200 a month unlimited plan so I could do this, because apparently the Cisco gnomes have to eat more, By the way, I worked at IT. Why did I say worked? I still work at IT.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Cisco gnomes don't exist. You don't have to feed them. They don't cost
Cody,
more. Depending
what I
on more
always say to
bytes.
you is think of internet is just a lake.
It's just
There's
a lake.
There is a limited
will
amount
dry
of
up.
internet that will dry up if we use it too fast.
What do the keeper of the keys say about that? Do they refill the lake every
No.
once in a while?
Only if
the gnomes are paid.
the gnomes allow it. The Cisco
Okay.
gnomes allow it. Actually, I want to say a Cisco person is actually, speaking of going back to my thing, I think a Cisco person is actually on that, has one of those magical keys. That would make sense. Huh.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, anyways, I have to move to Thailand to get unlimited internet in order to play Microsoft Flight Sim. So,
But they do have a distribution model just for you.
Just for you.
You can buy
you.
a physicalized version of the game.
so it's a hard drive
will
they
ship-
ship to you.
It is 10 dual layer DVDs.
Are you shitting me?
Just give me.
I am not
I'll
shitting.
pay
That
the
is the
extra
It's
amount. Just put it
90
in.
fucking
gigs.
thing I have ever heard.
It is
What?
90 gigs that comes on the CDs, and it will still require an update
Wait, why don't you just put
in
it on
order
a
to
thumb
get
drive?
the rest of them.
Put it on a fucking $30 hum.
Yeah, why are we doing
I don't know.
two-layer DVDs? Who has one of those anymore?
Probably for longevity. Well, and so the article I was
Okay.
reading, they actually asked, they're like, well, why not Blu-rays? Because there's higher
Yeah, but nobody
density.
has those.
Exactly. That's what they said. DVDs are already becoming kind of outmoded,
Yeah,
but
and-
there's a higher
CDs
likelihood that they would
yeah.
have DVDs.
Maybe
And you
course,
can get a version
also-
that
you make
comes
the-
with a portable DVD drive
Oh,
so that
well,
you can load the 10 DVDs.
Okay, that's
Of course, you would
that's
think.
extra,
you
but-
would think, and again,
that they would do
if you
something.
have the computer that can play this game at a decent experience, you probably have internet for one thing. Granted, you can be like Alaskans and have limits
Yeah.
because it's a lake up there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
for the
it's
rest
either
of it, for the lower
ACS
48, where it's still a lake, but the lake's a lot fuller.
Oh yeah.
By the way, it's not a lake, people.
There.
It's a damn river.
Yeah.
The river doesn't matter.
It is a cycle of internet. The bits keep going around
It's a-
and round. None
it's
get
a flow
removed.
rate.
There's
It's
no
not
Cisco
a storage unit. It's not storage. It's a flow rate.
But
Your
I
ISPs
personally,
are
I would,
tricking
people.
you to use less internet. That's all that's
Screw
happening. Is they're
ISPs.
selling one
Yeah.
thing and they're going, oh, but
They're-
don't use that, so we can still market it here. Basically, call BS on you. But we're gonna tell you that you can only use this much per month, so you don't actually use that rate. So therefore, we can market speeds higher because bigger number.
yeah, and then not provide a symmetrical link. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
instead,
God
like
damn it.
my connection is 200 megs down, or no, 400 megs down, which is fantastic, but a wimpy 20 megs up.
Yeah.
That's it. Damn.
Nobody
it.
needs to upload. Internet only needs to go one way. Actually, devil's
Just
advocate.
consume. Just consume.
For most people, they do not need upload. But a lot of people
but-
are
I
becoming
would
YouTube
argue-
creators, though. So
With-
I was going to say,
what's
with
going
YouTube,
on,
with SoundCloud, with
streamers,
uploading good pictures to Facebook,
like, yeah, it's
you would notice a huge difference.
maybe being forced to stay home for 4 months and major change in internet habits.
oh yeah, which by the way, the ISPs are rolling back their policies. Which
fucking hate
GCI
that.
never had that. GCI was like,
GCI,
oh, you can get a free iPad during this time. Not, we're going to provide you with unlimited internet.
wait, you didn't get the free iPad?
It was something screwy, and I don't. It wasn't actually an iPad. It was something else, and it was. It was like only with if you bought phone service through them too, and it's like,
Oh,
no, I'm not going to be hooven to a different phone company by switching. Yeah, no, I'm going to keep my unlocked phone so I can travel internationally and say screw you to AT&T when I land in a country where I can get, instead of having 2 gigs or 3 gigs per month, I can have, what was that, 26 gigs for
26 for like $10.
Yeah, no, it was actually 1,000 baht. So it was so it was $30 for 26 gigs, and the speed test I did on it was, well, you guys got a little bit less in the airport, but when down,
no, it was impressive.
it was like 100
what it
megabit on mobile. Like, why AT&T? Like, no, screw you.
Well, they've cornered the market. Anyways,
Okay.
speaking of getting off the damn and off the trails yet again. What a crazy episode, boys.
Yeah.
Fun.
So, circling back to VR, VR support will not be available day one. It's expected to arrive alongside the recently revealed HP Reverb G2 mixed reality headset later this fall.
Okay.
So, which makes sense. I'm actually really looking forward to that Reverb G2. It's going to be $600. It's 2160 by 2160 per eye. And the lenses are actually made by Valve.
Do you need the damn stations, or is it?
No, which is what I love. I hate outside in tracking. I like the inside out tracking because then I don't have to hang stuff on the walls. I don't have to have additional cables running to the computer. I don't need to get USB hubs to power all the crap.
Well,
I can have a headset, controllers, and that's it.
It goes back to usability and marketability again. Not everyone has a big room that can actually utilize, which is a better technology.
I do want to clarify one thing. So with the base stations, you actually don't have cables from the base stations that have to go to your computer.
If you need power.
Yeah, just power.
So are they Bluetooth now? Or how do what do they operate on?
I don't know. It's some sort of wireless. I don't know if it's Bluetooth or if it's just
weird proprietary point-to-point.
2454.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't used my cell phone scanner on it, which is kind of surprising since I worked in that industry for a while. But that I haven't checked on that. I just haven't cared enough because it's like, oh, this works. What's really weird is it looks like they've got like this IR grid of 9 lights on them. So I don't know if part of it is IR, then it communicates to the headset via RF from there. That
might be worth an episode.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah.
But you only have to have cables from the power to each of the stations. But yes, I agree that once the outside or the inside out tracking gets really good, that will be the better way of going. Because the base stations are a pain to mount. They're not, I mean, it's a pain because you have to move them. Like for my room is like 3 feet too large. And so they keep alerting me like, your room is too big. They're too far apart. And it's like, I don't have any realistic way to move them closer together to have where they're supposed to be placed. So
the way I would do it, if I had that type of problem, I'd go find I'd look on like Craigslist or something and find some cheap like
light stands,
either light stands or speaker stands or something like that. Or honestly, just a damn, even a mic stand. Something you just tape it on there. Who cares? Or figure out some sort of, but still, it's a pain in the ass, regardless of what you're saying.
Yeah. So I would agree that that's eventually the better way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have one of the first gen Windows mixed reality headsets. I've got a Lenovo Explorer headset. I have never had problem with head tracking or positional tracking with that inside-out system, and it only has 2 cameras.
Oh, okay.
The only problem I've had is occasionally it will lose sight of one of the controllers, and it will then go to gyroscopic movement. And because that's not as accurate, you will notice if you start getting really far out into your field of movement, that some of your actions will become less precise.
That's not bad,
But I
actually.
personally like the Windows mixed reality headset because it does integrate so tightly with Windows, and it has like flashlight mode, and you can bring up your desktop inside of any game to like click on notifications and change settings, and it's a very interesting platform, and I really do want to see it continue. So it'll be interesting to see how this headset is received, and if maybe I have a good, if maybe I'm back at work by then and can find a reason to get one. I don't know. I won't say for sure, but
wear masks so Drax
wear
can get
your
his
damn masks
headset
so he can get
and go back
his
to
headset.
So anyone want to take a stab at the price of the new Flight Sim 2020?
150.
$299.
No.
Less than Star Citizen.
So there is going to be
less than an Idris.
Yeah, way less. So there's going to be 3 versions. There's a standard version for $59.99, a deluxe edition for $89.99, and a premium deluxe edition for $119.99.
No.
The difference between them is there's an additional 5 handcrafted airports and 5 additional aircraft per version jump. And unfortunately, Denver International, to get the handcrafted version of that, you will have to pony up the full $120.
So that's only
But-
a cutlass.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's in the grand scheme of gaming and the things that you could be paying for in gaming,
But
it's
that's
not that bad.
That's
and
not
there
including
isn't
any
a subscription.
DLCs, though. I was going to say, does that include future DLCs?
So there
No.
is going to be marketplace aircraft and airports. I don't know what the pricing on those will be. If it's going to be kind of like,
Airports will
you
probably
could
be more
have
expensive.
developers doing well, and it depends on, is it going to, I'm sure the direct from Microsoft stuff will be kind of on the pricier end, but they have said that they will allow user models to be
Oh.
posted in there. That's always been one of the big things about Microsoft Flight Sim, is you can go out on the web, get an aircraft off the web, and pull it into the Flight Sim. Now, I'm sure making those models and stuff is going to be much more difficult because of the level of realism and physics involved with the newer version. But
It can be done.
and I mean, the other thing is, right now we still really don't know what the difference between like a standard one of the 37,000 airports that they have in the game on launch, what the difference between one of those is going to be versus the handcrafted model. Is it going to be just, okay, this is 100% accurate with all of the correct buildings and markings
You
and
could
stuff?
walk around as a pedestrian
versus-
and hear, moving walkway is nearing its end. Please watch your step. Thank you. Or
and
end
hearing
of
the-
walkway. Wah, wah.
Or hearing, welcome to Denver. Our local sports teams are the
Demonic
Broncos and
Bronco
the
out
Rapids
front.
and the...
It killed its master.
Yeah. So there's not clear indications on what those differences are going to be. I know personally I'm going to be going for the standard edition. It has the plane I want in it, which, interesting note going back to the whole China and the current trade war going on.
You want the ARJ?
No. The Icon A5. Do
I don't
either of you know what that is?
I don't. And now I'm going to have to Google.
It's an amphibious light sport aircraft.
What?
Yeah, it is beautiful. The interior was designed by BMW, so it looks more like a car interior. The exterior was designed by Nissan, and it's a plane that you can land on land or in a lake.
All right, that looks cool. By
Yeah,
the way,
you can
our,
fold the wings up
YouTube viewers can now see the Icon A5. By the way,
yes, isn't it glorious?
What was it called?
It's only $360,000.
it has a parachute.
That's
built-in
actually
Yes.
parachute system.
That's not
Yes.
horrible.
That is
actually.
required in the United States.
Well, of
It's
course.
optional everywhere else in the world. It's required in the United States because it is over the weight classification for the sport light class.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's
I'd
an
fly the
amazing
hell out of that.
aircraft. But so initially, the estimates initially were that they were going to be able to produce 20 aircraft per month. Their facility is based out of China. 20 aircraft per month. Because of the trade war, they have had to cut staff and are now only able to produce 5 per month.
Oh, the price
And
is going to go up.
that is before all of this, the current human malware infection.
I like that human malware.
I
That's good.
stole it, I'm pretty sure, from level 1 techs. But yeah, that aircraft, that is what I want, because you can land pretty much anywhere you want.
Yeah, that is really cool. Especially, I want to land in that water that it's landing in.
Yeah.
That looks beautiful. Like Maldives.
I think that
or
would be
something.
fun to just like go take to Blue Mesa Lake and just take off from there and fly around there and just be like,
Well,
You're
shit,
thinking
or
too
just-
small,
look
Drac.
at my gloriousness.
You're like, let's do
I
everything
know.
around Gunnison. Come on, let's get out.
But
of
okay,
Colorado.
to be honest,
Gotta
that's
start somewhere, though.
you got to start somewhere, and that's the thing that I'm most interested in. Is like,
Plus, he
there's
also
so
has an
mu-
airplane.
We
You
went,
can go somewhere else.
we went on a motorcycle ride like 3 or 4 weeks back, down to Swatch, over to Creed, and then back up through Lake City. I have never been that way in my life.
Okay.
The Creed to Lake City. I've heard of Sawtooth Mountain. I never really knew where it was or what it looked like until we were driving down off of the pass from Creed into Lake City, and I'm like, oh my god, that looks like is that Sawtooth Ridge? And my parents are both like, yeah. You've came this way. Certainly you've came this way. And it's like, no.
or
I've
they
never
try
been
and
this
make.
way. I've
they,
never
like,
seen those mountains before in my life.
They like
And it's like,
kind of gaslight you into thinking like maybe I have been here, unintentionally.
no. They were like, no, we're sure you've been. Well, no. I think last time we were all up here, we went over engineer, and it's like, yeah, because we were in the Bronco, and I remember lots of wonderful cuss words from my mom, and lots of screaming and yelling and holding on tight. And
Wow, engineer. That's yeah.
going up it was, I remember it being like fantastic and smooth, and I was probably younger than Luke is, so I was probably 8 or 9, I think, and we were taking the Bronco down the backside, and it just, there was a couple points where Dad had to like do a 3-point around a hairpin, and Mom thought he was getting too close. And yeah, craziness 4-wheeling with Dad, and lots of yes.
All right.
But it's that kind of stuff that like I'm really excited for this sim, because I'm going to be able to fly over stuff and be like, hey, maybe I should try and come back here and backpack. This looks pretty cool. Maybe there's some cool stuff. Or, hey, this is a really cool road over here. Maybe I need to take it next time I go motorcycling.
Okay, I see that. It for me, that's like reasons I kind of want to get a drone for around, and the cameras. Anyway, I'm taking this too far. We're actually verging on an hour and a half now.
Ooh, okay. So
we need to calm down.
I will
and that's
wrap it
mostly
up
my
quick
fault.
then. No, you're fine.
Brandon, plug your shit.
Yeah.
Who are you and what do you do?
So hold on, one more thing. I want to see this technology in a race simulator, in like car, motorcycle, or even like semi.
Are you
because
talking about the physics?
that is the next thing. No, the like terrain and topology and
okay.
geography and
yeah.
satellite.
Oh yeah.
I don't. I think with how long it took to get it in flight sims, which is pretty mundane, versus in like car racing simulator, I don't know that that's ever going to happen because of how litigious we are as a society, and all it's going to take is one dude going over a cliff because, well, in the game I could take that at 90. But that's where I want to see it come in next. It's not, but for now, if you want to explore the world from your comfort of your own desk, keep an eye on this game.
I definitely
Hell yeah.
Even Lucas is looking forward. He's like, Dad, when you get it, can I play it? Because I read the
No.
article, that my script to him before this, and he was like, Dad, I want to play it when it comes
No.
out. I want to
Good
play it.
job.
It's like, okay.
You gotta buy Dad a VR.
Yeah, buy me the new VR, then you can have my old VR. Makes sense, right? Totally makes sense.
That's why you have kids.
He should be working on that now.
Exactly.
All right,
Like the
well-
Mr.
olden,
Vader, who are
work
you?
in the farm. Yeah.
I am Brandon Vader. You can find me on thetechpirate.net. That's my tech blog review website where I post whatever the hell I want when I want. And I'm occasionally joined by Colton down there. Maybe one day Psychonitrous will put up a post. Cody? Otherwise, you can find me on YouTube as The Tech Pirate. On Twitch occasionally as Drac Vader. I haven't been on there in a little while. I do apologize. I need to do that more. And yeah. Colton, where can we find you?
Well, I'm Colton Roper. I am also a contributor to the techpirate.net. I also have a YouTube channel under Seeker4761.
That's how
And,
many
of course-
hats he has.
I would say,
But we've
looking
only
at,
seen the one.
I was gonna say, looking at the past 8 episodes, there's only been 2, so they're
He has
out
to
there, I
hide
promise.
most of
Oh
them.
yeah, there has been a second one, hasn't there?
Yeah,
the
there's been
the
another
dude
one.
with the kicking.
Yeah, the Thailand one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seeker4761 under YouTube and also under Twitch. So yeah, check me out. Try to stream at least 2 or 3 times a week, mostly on Tuesdays. That is the only official day I have at this point, but who knows? With what's going on, I might have more time. Who knows? And Cody.
I am Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous, and I should stream sometimes. I do have a YouTube channel that is called Striving to Fail. Yes, I think so. I'm failing
Yes.
to remember it like normal.
I don't know why you always ask us for validation on that.
I-
You're the one who made the damn channel.
It's your YouTube channel.
Actually, I registered 2 domains when I did it because I couldn't remember which one I should use. So I just was like, the domains are cheap. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, so I
Give
do
ICANN
that,
money.
and yeah, exactly. Got to keep the keeper of the keys happy and with stuff to do. One more thing to do.
All hail the DNS gods.
But yeah, I am also going to attempt to get this podcast out every Saturday now. Saturday, Alaska time. I'm not gonna say East Coast because
Yeah, they're on a
always-
different
yeah,
they're on
we
a different day
always
schedule in
convert
Alaska.
to East Coast, and I'm sick of it. So we're gonna go West Coast, Alaska coast. So not Aleutian though. Those Aleutian people, yeah, no, Alaska time, Alaska mainland time.
Fights power, Cody.
Yep. Anyway, yeah. So thanks.
Well,
Brandon,
this
tell
has
us all.
been
Oh, I do want to add one thing. Sorry. So for the people of the podcast that listen on the listening stuff, why can't I think of the name of listening stuff? Anyway, you listen.
Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Pocket Casts.
Yeah, so if you listen, we also have a YouTube component. If you do want to watch us on YouTube, you're welcome to.
What's the
Same
channel?
name. It's This Week I'm Learning. Not, or is it this? No, that was the old name. It's just This Week I'm Learning. See, I just don't know names. That's my problem. You can find us on
written
YouTube.
in the show notes.
And also people who... Yeah, it will be. Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
No, in your show notes.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's
That's all right.
I don't have that up
This
right
week
now.
I'm
We're
My
learning.
learning.
screens
We're
are too
still
full.
learning.
Yeah,
Everyone gets
so-
15 podcast episodes to figure out their growing pains, and then people can
Yeah,
judge.
yeah. See, because I
we're
mean,
getting
our
there. We're halfway
numbering
there.
was even off. Yeah, I haven't switched it on YouTube yet. I still need to.
It's okay. It'll get
happen.
fixed.
Anyway, or if you want to listen to us and you watch us on YouTube and you're like, hey, I drive, I need to listen rather than watch. We also are on various podcast platforms, and we're working on getting it on my favorite, which is Pocket Casts, because Pocket Casts is a really cool app.
As
done
of
talking.
showing today, July 30th, we have submitted our RSS feed to Pocket Cast. We're hoping to get that on there
By tomorrow.
and validated by tomorrow. So that would be the 31st.
Yes, there's 31 in
31 days.
Alaska
And
time.
as of right now, you can find us on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify under This Week I'm Learning. This has been This Week I'm Learning. Hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll catch you in the next one.
Take care, guys.
Farewell and happy bubble tea.
Bubble tea.
Boo.